A brother demands you hand over your car, because you can afford another one. A cousin asks to borrow your vacation home, then secretly lists it on Airbnb and pockets thousands. And a mother, your own mother, demands you drain your savings to pay for step-siblings' college tuition. So one guy bought himself a $50,000 boat instead. Tonight, we're diving into 3 stories about the people who got tired of being treated like the family ATM. And trust me, the withdrawals stop hard. I've read thousands of stories in this chair. Cheaters, bosses, neighbors, in-laws. But family? Family is the cruelest con. Because they don't just ask for your money, they demand it. They guilt you. They weaponize blood. But every ATM has a daily limit. And when these 3 people hit theirs, oh, the machines shut down permanently. Let's start with the brother who thought success meant sharing. Our first story comes from a 32-year-old software engineer we'll call Aaron. Aaron worked his ass off. No trust fund. No handouts. Just student loans, 80-hour weeks, and a decade of grinding in tech. And he bought himself a car. A nice one. A BMW 5 Series. $63,000. His brother? Let's call him Kyle. Kyle's car just died. And Kyle had a solution.
So I'm at my parents' house for Sunday dinner. Standard thing, right? My mom makes lasagna, my dad complains about the Eagles, my brother shows up late. Except this time, Kyle doesn't just show up late. He shows up without a car. He Ubers to my parents' house. In the suburbs. That should have been my first red flag. We're sitting down, and halfway through dinner, Kyle just drops it. Hey man, my Civic finally died. Transmission's toast. So I was thinking you should just give me your BMW. I literally stopped chewing. I go, what? He goes, dude, you make like 200 grand a year. You can afford another one. I need a car for work. I'm sitting there, fork in my hand, looking at my mom and dad, waiting for them to laugh or say something. But my mom just shrugs. Like it's a reasonable request. My dad goes, he's got a point, Aaron. You are doing well. I put my fork down. I said, Kyle, I'm not giving you my car. He goes, why not? You're being selfish. I said, because it's my car. I bought it. I make the payments. You want a car? Buy one. And this dude looks at me like I just insulted his mother and goes, so that's how it is? You get successful and forget where you came from? I almost lost it. I said, where I came from. Kyle, we grew up in the same house. You had the same opportunities one did. I went to community college and transferred. I worked full-time while getting my degree. You dropped out sophomore year to sell protein powder on Instagram. My mom jumps in. Aaron, that's harsh. I said, no, what's harsh is asking me to hand over a $63,000 car because his 15-year-old Civic finally died. Kyle stands up. Fine. I'll remember this. And he leaves. My mom guilt trips me the rest of the night. He's your brother. Family helps family. I left early. The next day, my phone's blowing up. Texts from cousins, aunts, my uncle. Apparently, Kyle told everyone I refused to help him in his time of need. One of my cousins sent me a message, wow. Didn't know you were that kind of person. I didn't respond. A week later, Kyle texts me. Mom says you're coming to Thanksgiving. Don't bother. You're not welcome. I screenshot it and sent it to my mom. I said, so Kyle's uninviting me from your house now? She calls me. She's crying. She says, why can't you just help him? You have so much. I said, Mom, if I give him my car, what's next? My house? My savings? Where does it stop? She goes, that's not fair. I said, no. What's not fair is that you raised me to work hard, and now you're punishing me for it. I didn't go to Thanksgiving. Here's the kicker. 2 months later, I'm scrolling Instagram. Kyle posts a photo. He's standing in front of a brand new charger. Blacked out. Rooms. The works. Caption, blessed. Finally got my dream car. No thanks to fake family. I called my dad. I said, so Kyle can afford a charger, but 2 months ago he needed my BMW? My dad goes, he got a settlement from a fender bender last year. It came through. I said, so he had money the whole time? Silence. I said, and you still made me feel like the bad guy. My dad sighed. Aaron, he's your brother. I said, yeah. And I'm your son. But I guess that doesn't count for much. I haven't been back home since.
Aaron didn't give in. And Kyle? Kyle got his car anyway, because he never needed Aaron's in the first place. He just wanted it. That's the test, isn't it? The people who actually need help rarely demand it. But our next story? The demand was quieter, sweeter, wrapped in trust. And that's what made the betrayal so much worse. Aaron's brother wanted a handout. Entitled? Absolutely. But at least he was upfront about it. Our next guy. He got played. And not by a sibling, by a cousin. Someone he trusted. Someone he helped. And she didn't just take advantage. She turned his generosity into a profit center. Let's meet the guy who learned that no good deed goes unpunished. This story comes from a 38-year-old architect we'll call Ethan. Ethan bought a small vacation home in the Poconos 5 years ago. Nothing crazy. 2 bedrooms, a fireplace, a dock. A place to unplug. And his cousin, let's call her Jess, knew about it. Jess called him one day with a request.
So I get a call from my cousin Jess. We're not super close, but we grew up together. Family reunions, holidays, you know the drill. She's going through a rough patch. Her boyfriend just dumped her. She's stressed at work. She just needs a break. She asks if she can use my place in the Poconos for a long weekend. Just her, maybe a girlfriend, some wine, decompress. I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem. I give her the code to the lockbox, tell her to have fun, and that's that. She goes up on a Thursday. I don't hear from her. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing. I figure she's off the grid, which is the whole point of the place. Monday morning, I get a text. Thanks so much. Just what I needed. You're the best. Cool. Awesome. Glad I could help. 2 weeks later, my buddy sends me a screenshot. It's an Airbnb listing for my cabin. I'm staring at my phone like, what? The photos are from inside my house. My furniture. My fireplace. My dock. The listing says, Cozy Poconos Retreat. Sleeps for $320 per night. And it's been active for 3 weeks. I call Jess immediately. She doesn't pick up. I text her. Why is my cabin on Airbnb? She responds 2 hours later. Oh, yeah, I figured since you're not using it, I could make us some extra money. I've already booked it 4 times. I'll split it with you. I'm reading this, and I'm seething. I call her. She picks up this time. I said, Jess, you asked to borrow my cabin for a weekend. You didn't ask to rent it out to strangers. She goes, I mean, you weren't using it. I said, that's not the point. It's my property. You don't get to profit off it without asking me. She goes, God, Ethan, I'm trying to help both of us. You're being dramatic. I said, take the listing down. Now. She goes, I have people booked through next month. I lost it. I said, if that listing isn't down in 1 hour, I'm reporting it to Airbnb and calling the cops. She hung up. I reported the listing immediately. Airbnb took it down within 6 hours. But here's the thing. Jess had already taken deposits from people. Cash deposits. Not through Airbnb. Through Venmo. She'd pocketed over $2,000. I drove up to the cabin that weekend. I changed all the locks. I installed a Ring camera. And I checked the guest book I keep inside. There were entries from 6 different groups over the past month. She'd been renting it out since the day I gave her the code. I sent her one final text. You're not welcome at my property ever again. You stole from me. If you contact me, I'll pursue legal action for the income you took and any damages. She didn't respond, but my aunt or mom called me the next day. She's screaming at me. How dare you threaten my daughter? She was trying to help you. I said, help me? She committed fraud. My aunt goes, she's family. You should have just let her have it. I said, let her have it? It's a $180,000 property. She's not entitled to it. My aunt called me selfish and hung up. I didn't go to Christmas that year. My mom was mad, but I didn't care. Jess never apologized. She never paid me back. And 6 months later, I see on Facebook she's posting about her new side hustle. She's a life coach now. Her tagline? Empowering women to take what's theirs. I blocked her.
Jess didn't just cross a line. She obliterated it, turned trust into profit, generosity into theft. And Ethan? He locked her out. Literally. But our final story? This one's not about a sibling or a cousin. This one's about a mother. And the price she tried to charge, for love. Brothers demand. Cousins scheme. But mothers? Mother's guilt. And guilt is the most effective weapon in the family arsenal. Because it's not just about money, it's about worth. About whether you're a good son or daughter. Our final story is about a man who spent his whole life being the backup plan. The ATM. The afterthought. And when his mother came to make one final withdrawal, he bought a boat instead. Let's meet the guy who said enough. This story comes from a 29-year-old finance analyst we'll call Marcus. Marcus is an only child. His parents divorced when he was 8. His mom remarried when he was 12. And suddenly Marcus had 2 step-siblings. Both younger. Both preferred. He spent his teens being the responsible one. The forgotten one. The one who paid his own way through college. And now, his mom had a request.
I need to set the stage here. My mom remarried when I was 12. My stepdad, let's call him Ron, had 2 kids. A daughter, Emma, and a son, Tyler. They were 9 and 7 when we all moved in together. From day one, it was clear, they were the new family. I was the old one. Ron was nice enough to me, but he wasn't my dad. And my mom? She bent over backward to make sure Emma and Tyler felt welcome. Which I get. Blended families are hard. But somewhere along the way, I became invisible. I played baseball in high school. My mom came to 1 game in 4 years. But she never missed Tyler's soccer matches. I got a full ride to college. My mom's reaction? That's great, honey. Tyler got accepted to community college. My mom threw him a party. I'm not bitter. I mean, I was. But I moved on. I got my degree, landed a good job in finance, bought a condo. I handled my business. And I didn't ask them for anything. Fast forward to last year. Emma's a senior in high school. She gets into a decent state school. Not Ivy League, but solid. My mom calls me. She's cheerful. Too cheerful. I know this tone. She goes, so, Emma got into college. I said, that's great. She goes, yeah. We're so proud. But, tuition's expensive. I didn't say anything. She goes, Ron and I have some savings, but it's not enough. We were hoping you could help. I said, help how? She goes, well, you're doing really well. We thought maybe you could cover her first year. Just to get her started. I said, Mom, that's like 30 grand. She goes, I know. But you have it. And she's your sister. I said, she's my stepsister. And I paid my own way through school. She goes, that's different. You had a scholarship. I said, I had a scholarship because I worked for it. What's Emma doing? My mom got quiet. Then she said, so you're saying no? I said, I'm saying I'm not paying for her college. That's not my responsibility. She hung up. A week later, she calls again. This time, Tyler's in the mix. He's going to college next year too. A private school. 45 grand a year. My mom says, we need help with both of them. I said, Mom, I'm not paying. She loses it. After everything we did for you. We gave you a home. We fed you. And now you won't help your family? I said, you fed me because I was your kid. That's called parenting. And I offered to help you guys 3 years ago when Ron got laid off. You said no. She goes, that's not the same. I said, it's exactly the same. She called me selfish and hung up again. Now here's where I might be the asshole. I'd been saving up for a while. I love fishing. I love being on the water. And I'd been looking at boats for about 2 years. So about a month after that phone call, I pulled the trigger. I bought a 28-foot Sea Ray. $52,000. I posted a photo on Facebook. Me, standing on the deck, beer in hand, caption, new toy. Can't wait for summer. Within an hour, my phone was ringing. It was my mom. You bought a boat? I said, yeah. She goes, you have $50,000 for a boat, but you won't help your sister? I said, stepsister. And yeah. That's correct. She screamed at me. Called me selfish, heartless, spoiled. I let her finish. Then I said, Mom, I worked my ass off for everything I have. I don't owe Emma or Tyler anything. If you want them to go to college, that's on you and Ron. She said, don't bother coming to any more family events. I said, I won't. And I hung up. The fallout was nuclear. My stepdad sent me a long email about what family means. Emma sent me a message calling me a selfish prick. Tyler didn't say anything, but he blocked me on everything. My mom told half the family I chose a boat over my siblings' futures. A few relatives reached out to tell me I was wrong. But you know what? A few reached out to say they got it. One of my uncles, my dad's brother, texted me, good for you. She's been using you as a backup plan for years. That hit me hard. Because it was true. It's been a year. I haven't spoken to my mom. She didn't invite me to Tyler's graduation. I didn't go to Emma's going away party. And honestly, I'm okay. I take my boat out every weekend. I've got my friends. I've got my life. And I don't feel guilty anymore. Because I finally realized, I don't owe anyone access to my success just because we share DNA.
Marcus bought a boat. And with it he bought his freedom. Aaron kept his car. Ethan locked his doors. Marcus set sail. 3 people. 3 boundaries. 3 refusals. And the family that demanded their wealth? They're still out there. Still asking. Still entitled. But the ATM is closed. If you've got a story about the family member who treated you like a bank, drop it in the comments. I read them all. And if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button. Because every week, we're diving into the stories the algorithm doesn't want you to hear. Until next time, protect your boundaries and your boat.